Alright, so here's how my clutch are apart. I'm gonna put back the factory clutch because basically the slipper clutch was not giving me enough what do they call it, engine braking, because I really like engine braking because it's just my style of riding. I like just let go of the gas and have the engine braking slow me down. But with the slipper clutch, you know, it minimizes engine braking, so that's just the way it is. Alright, so putting back to stock, I got that clutch basket in here. You don't need to do nothing, you know, you don't need to take this out. If you do have to take it out, just take this out. Be mindful that there's a little spacer right here. It's a big one, and there's another small little one right here. Alright, and make sure you have your little splash guard right here. Slide this through, mesh the two gears right here together. Gears together should be mesh. That little spacer, small one, it goes, you know, it slips right into the basket here. So let's call this the outer basket. Right. So from there, go with the this washer right here. It's a tiny little washer. It's not much, but it does something, you know. So the washer right here, you do that. Let's see. There's a rounded side and there's a non-rounded side. Which one do I want to use? Let's look at it real fast. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. So little washer right here. Make sure you put this all in the proper order. So this washer goes in first. So this is the flat, thin one. The other washer you have is this big, thick one. So the flat, thin one goes in first, and from there you put the inside basket. So let's call this the outside basket. Let's call it the inside basket. So the inside basket back plate, or inside plate. So that's, you know, nothing on it. It's just like so. I can start putting my clutch pack on. But actually, before I do that, let's look at this. So this spline here, it's also a spline here. So when you put this together and you match the holes with these columns here, like so, right, like that, you have to make sure that the splines also match as well. So right here, this hole and column here together, it doesn't match. See that? It doesn't match. So if it doesn't match, turn it over one turn, and it drops right in. So that's what you want. Okay. So be mindful of that. You actually keep track of that if you want. Look, let's look at this part number right here. Let's face it at 12 o'clock. And over here, I have nothing. Actually, let's use this part number, or this the label here, K whatever, right here as well. Let's see if that fits first. Actually, no, it doesn't fit. So let's turn it over to this FCC whatever, another stamping. So that fits. Okay. So I'm gonna keep that at 12 o'clock. The little stamping right there. So later on, when I put this back on, I'm gonna put this at 12 o'clock as well, so I know that it fits in there. Let's actually slide this in. Right. So it fits. See, like so. Actually, it's actually still not in there yet. You know it's not in there. Just looking at the edge here. This edge, right here, this big face right here is flat, but the edge here, it's actually tapered in a little bit, like so. You know, it goes in. That taper should sit lower than this right here. Let's see, because it hasn't dropped in. I can actually look down in there. And I can see that it hasn't dropped in yet. Let's see. It's gonna drop in. Well, can it drop in? Is the question. Not is it gonna drop in? It can drop in. Yeah, so it can drop in. So right there, it could drop in. The reason why it doesn't drop all the way in is because because that's how this clutch slips. Because of that, remember that washer that I have back there? Let's pull this out again. Oops. Remember that washer I have back there? That washer is the spacer that keeps this. So when this goes in, like so, without that spacer, it would drop all the way in. With that spacer, it will be it'd be a little further out, like so. It doesn't disengage the spline. The spline is still engaged, but it's not all the way. It doesn't show up all the way, and so it's kind of like this. And that right there will give you your that right there will be enough. The actual stop right there will be enough for the clutch to basically spin independently. You know, the friction material, the friction disc versus the friction plate will be independent of each other instead of being attached. So let's do that again. So I got my little washer in there already. A little plate right here. Now I could start putting in my what's it called, the friction material. So here's the friction pack. So from the factory, they have all these tabs, painted on one of the tabs. So I'm gonna use that same tab. Okay. So I'm gonna go in. Doesn't really matter which side is which. There's no sides. I'm gonna go in like so. So I'm gonna pick one side. So we saw the inside spline already. The basket itself, the outside basket, also has a spline as well. So that's what these tabs on the friction pad is, or well, it's friction plate, I should say. So I'm gonna line that up. That's good. Then the friction. So the friction disc and the friction plate are two different things, and the friction plate has the spline on the inside. So when I put that in, I'm gonna match that spline with the the inside plate, backing plate, the inside basket spline. So there's outside spline and the inside spline. So if you match them up, you should be fine. So, okay, so basically all my paint on the friction disc is all made it up. So I'm gonna go in there with a little flathead right here. I'm gonna run in up the inside spline, so that way I make sure that all those inside spines are mated as well. So that way I could, when I put the outside basket, assuming the outside plate in there, it will mate up as well. So I mentioned the washer, right? The washer, so the washer will keep this from, it gives you a little bit of slop. So that's your so the friction disc and the friction plate could move independently of each other. So remember last time before when I put this on, I was using that stamping. So there's a stamping and there's the little thing right here. I'm like, okay, line that up like so, and you can have to wiggle this a little bit because these spines will kind of won't go in smoothly. So if you wiggle it, back and forth like this, it will. These spines will mate with the spline on the friction disc. Excuse me, not friction disc, friction plate. The inside spine, basically. So there. So I think I passed 2 plates already. Just put things in the way here. 2 plates. Oh, third plate. Oh, no, not quite. That's all you need to do. Just wiggle back and forth. Usually it's enough. Oh, come on. Nope, that didn't work. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Oh, I think I need one more. See, one more? Oh my god. Oh, I think I'm there. I believe I'm there. Okay, so actually the outside corner here is actually just about, not quite even. I think actually the inside, the OD of this thing right here is actually just above these columns. So I think previously I mentioned it's supposed to be below, but it's not. because of that washer. If you remove that washer, the edge right here will actually be below the column, and that's not right. When you have it like that, the friction disc and the friction plate will be right up against each other, and they won't basically move. But with that washer in there, it gives them some slack, so that way they could move independent of each other, and that's how it's supposed to be. So that's why you can see this thing. I'm able to do this. If I take off that washer, it might not do this. See how much I'm able to rotate. All right. Actually, let's take that washer off real fast. It's down in here. Actually, where's it at? Oh, it's actually in the. It's in between here, so actually I can't take it off. It's not removable. My bad. My bad. Okay. So anyways, so here I'm pushing down on the inside right here and doing this. I'm good there. Okay. So there. Now we should start putting the springs on. 6 springs. There's only three columns here that have threads for the bolts. So keep that in mind. So the spring has no, upside, downside, wherever. It doesn't matter. They're all the same. These are actually pretty soft, these stock springs. So that. And now you got your spring plate. So 3 bolts. Look for where the threads are. So it's right here like this. Like so. Actually, even before I could do that, I could put it in my oh, it fits through here, so I don't need to put it in right away. But remember I mentioned the thicker washer. So the thicker washer goes right there. From there, and your nut actually goes right in there like so. You can actually put this on right now, and I don't even because this here is independent from the spring plate. So you can actually put this on first and be okay. And be okay and work. Actually, let me do that. Let's do that first. So this, you don't really have a real order because you can fit one or the other. Doesn't matter. Okay. So here's my impact driver. I don't think I need to block the 2 gears from spinning, because this thing, that's the cool thing about having impact driver. If you don't have impact driver, then you definitely need it. Make sure that the tool is flush against the part. That should be good. So spins pretty freely. If you rewind the thing back, and notice that that the friction disc, they were like wobbling and shaking around. That's how it's supposed to be. Because if they don't, that means they just, the friction disc and the friction plate are just right up against each other, and they're not going to be able to move independent of each other. So this nut is not flush. I can't remember when I took this off. I can't remember if it was flush or not. And you're like, oh wait, didn't you just remove this? Well, because I had my slipper clutch, and that's a little bit different as well. That's probably about flush, but I don't really remember. But that's pretty good. Got it torqued down. Now we can put the spring plate on here. So again, look for the threads. The 3 threads. That's my wrench. So I've got my little thing right here. So I'm just gonna get it so that way it threads on. Let's see, where are you at? Okay, there it is. So I will thread it on until I feel some resistance from the spring. Then I'll stop. Same with the other 2. Get some resistance from the spring. Right about there. Stop. Resistance from the spring. Stop. Okay, so now you need to check the springs. Make sure that it's all lined up properly. It's sitting nice and square where how it's supposed to be sitting. Okay, so that looks good. So now it's just a matter of tightening these things up. And while you're tightening these up, you should pay attention to the please the springs, for the first few turns, so that way you could make sure that springs on a square, and so they don't get messed up. So this is critical to tighten these 3 bolts evenly. If you don't, and you put too much pressure on one, let's say you tighten that one down first and leave the other 2 loose, that one that has all the pressure on there, it will crack, because it's holding, it's holding all the pressure just on one bolt, and this backing plate here is cast, so it's not that strong, and it will break if you do that. So make sure you put them together nice and evenly. So now all of them are pretty even. So I'm just gonna basically do this quarter turn at a time. If you feel one's like has more resistance than the other ones, that means that one's a little bit tighter than those other ones. And so the one that has the lightest resistance is the loosest one. Right. So right there, I just unequalized them, then I went back to equalizing them. This is probably the slowest part, is taking this off and putting it on. It's just, you have to make sure you do it right, otherwise you'll crack this thing. There's a bunch of guys, you see it online, crack this thing. I think I saw one channel with a dude crack this thing like 2 times or something like that. Just didn't do it right. I think when he took it off wrong. Then when he put it back on, he put it back on wrong. And then when you take it off and put it on, you have to do it the same way. A little bit of pressure on each one at a time. He might have been using an impact wrench, so it turned the bolts too fast. Oops, too much too fast. And it just put too much pressure on one of these spades, and it's gonna fail. So I'm looking at my spring real fast. It still looks fine. Oh, so that one stopped. Right there, stopped. Perfect. Look at that. I didn't even guesstimate. I mean, when I was turning it, it's just all by feel. Okay, let me put this one in, this splash guard here in first, so that way I could tighten up these springs without this thing flopping around and this thing moving, the basket moving. So today's a gorgeous day. It's a Saturday. Gorgeous day. I actually went on a morning ride, and I actually got home just before noon. That was actually kind of surprising, because I don't usually wake up that early, but I did in this case. I was, because I had a running partner, so he likes to go early. That's the second time I rode with that dude. I rode this bike here, so he rode his scooter. Could have rode my scooter too, but I haven't ridden this bike in a couple weeks, so take this bike out. So these 10mm hex bolts here are, I believe they're 9 foot-pounds, 8 or 9 foot-pounds. Not much. Okay. So you see my thing spinning there, and I don't want to use the impact driver. I don't have, I can't, when you use impact driver, it works great, but you don't have feel. And these things don't need that much torque, so I'm going to use, let's see, I'm going to use this thing here. So this thing holds the gear in place, so that way it doesn't allow it to spin. Like so, like that. It locks these two together, these two sprockets, these two gears together, so that way they won't spin. That's good there. That's good. That's good. Okay. That should be more than enough. I already impacted this, so I'm good. I'm good there, or I could do it again real quick. And the impact actually fits right in there too as well. Alright, that's plenty good right there. Pop the bearing back in. Make sure it's clean. How about this lint on my hands from the rag. Okay, everything's good there. Pop the bearing in. When you pop the bearing in, the label side should always face out. That's just a good practice. That's how you should do. When you put in bearings, label side should always be facing out. That way you could actually look at it real fast and you know what it is. Okay, so that's it. That's putting in the new clutch. As far as everything else, I don't think you guys need to see that other stuff, because you watch the video my other videos, and I show you how to put the oil filter, centrifugal oil filter back on, and all that other stuff. So we're done there. So if you do this right, it should work. If for some reason your clutch is not working and it freezes up, that means something is wrong. You probably forgot a washer, maybe, especially that inside washer, that first little flap thin washer. The first time I did this, I did forget the washer. I'm like, what the heck? And I had buttoned everything up and I started it up. In neutral was fine, but when you took it out of neutral and put it into gear, it just stalled the engine right away, because it was basically those friction discs were, the friction disc and the friction plate was basically locked together. So that kind of sucked, having to take this apart again to put it back together. Alright, so I'm pretty much done. Thanks for watching.